Hello friends, welcome to Insights Icon Initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a topic that is right against adverse effect of climate change. This is the recent Supreme Court observation and this is a very classic example of judicial activism and the increasing scope of fundamental rights. In this video, we are going to discuss about following learning objectives. That means at the end of this video, you are going to learn about these things. First, context, then background of this case, key highlights of the Supreme Court judgment, then expanding the scope of Article 21 and finally we draw the conclusion. Okay. Now let's see the syllabus mapping. This particular topic is related to UPSC Mains General Studies Paper 2, Indian Polity and Governance. Of course, if you are from PSI or optional, it is related to the optional as well, and General Studies Environment 2. Why it is in news? Recently, in a significant ruling, the Supreme Court has expanded the scope of Article 14 and Article 29 and Supreme Court guaranteed that right against the adverse effect of climate change is also one of the fundamental rights. This is a Supreme Court judgment. Regarding this, first we will try to understand some basics. After that, we will discuss about the particulars of this case. Okay, what is the main theme in this particular case and what are the Supreme Court judgment. By the way, the judgment was delivered by 3-judge bench, which consists of Honorable Justice J.B. Paridwala and the Honorable CJ D.V. Chandrachud and Honorable Supreme Court Judge Manoj Mishra. So this is a 3-judge bench. Now let's see. First, let me explain the context. That means, the concept. What is the concept? Who are the stakeholders here? First, Supreme Court. We will try to understand what is the Supreme Court judgment. Supreme Court judgment and how this Supreme Court judgment is affecting certain fundamental rights. How the scope of fundamental rights is increasing. Then finally, we will discuss about the significance of the judgment. Significance of this judgment. So these are the key areas we are going to discuss. First, Supreme Court judgment is about, the judgment is saying that a right against adverse effect of climate change. That means citizens have all the right to be protected from adverse effect of the climate change. Okay, right against adverse effect of climate change. Adverse effect of climate change. Citizens have all the rights to be protected from climate change. This is the Supreme Court observation. So this observation came in a case related to Great Indian Bustard. Great Indian Bustard. So tell me students, in which states of India we can observe Great Indian Bustard a lot? Okay. So Great Indian Bustard is a bird, and while examining a case related to Great Indian Bustard, Supreme Court observed these comments. So what is this case is about? Supreme Court in the previously, not in this judgment, in the previous judgment, Supreme Court ordered that the Great Indian Bustard, these birds, they are dying due to these high tension power lines, these power transmission line, electricity lines, and Supreme Court ordered the authorities, it included 3 ministries. Supreme Court ordered these 3 ministries to lay these power lines underground. That is the order. But later these 3 ministries requested the Supreme Court that laying these power lines through underground is not feasible. And these power lines are related to solar plants as well as the other renewable energy sources. So by considering India's commitment towards renewable energy sources, they requested that these power lines cannot be go underline and they have to lay on the ground only. So while considering this, Supreme Court appointed a specialist committee. The specialist committee is going to give the advice how the power lines can be avoided. The problem with the power lines is the problem with the high tension power lines. That means the power lines with lot of high voltage. These birds, they are getting stuck in these power lines and they are getting died. So that is the issue. That is the judgment of the Supreme Court. So while examining this judgment related to this Great Indian Bustard, Supreme Court commented that citizens have the right to life. Obviously, Constitution is giving the right to life under Article 21. Right to life includes what? Right to have a clean air, right to protected from air pollution, which ultimately include a right against the adverse impact of the climate change. Okay. So if because of the climate change, if humans' life is getting affected, then they can approach to the Supreme Court and Supreme Court can give orders to the state. That means obviously the jurisdiction of the fundamental rights increased, the scope of the fundamental rights is increased after the judgment. Here the great Indian bustard scientific name is Adiotis nigriceps. And tell me guys, what is the IUCN status of the great Indian bustard? What is the IUCN status? And according to Wildlife Protection Act 1972, it is protected under Schedule 1. And generally, this bird appears a lot in western part of India, majorly in the states of Gujarat and Rajasthan. So the lifespan of this bird is around 15 to 16 years. Okay. Now, so this is the judgment related to great Indian bustard. Now, so which fundamental rights? Which fundamental rights? Majorly their scope was expanded. In this case, Supreme Court majorly expanded the scope of Article 14 and Article 21. Article 14 and Article 21, their scope increased. Scope increased. You know that fundamental rights scope keep on increasing. For example, at one point of time when Constitution implemented, Article 21 was mainly dealing with the right to life. Later, that scope expanded and it included even the right to marriage and right to have a clean air. Based on that only, Delhi government given a judgment and it put some restrictions on the fireworks in Delhi, and even the right to die, passive euthanasia, right to forget. That means day by day, as the society is getting evolved, the Article 21 and Article 14, these crucial fundamental rights, their role is getting evolved. The scope is getting enhanced. The significance is obviously, okay, so climate change policies, they have to be implemented by taking care about the rights. By looking after the rights, we have to take care about the climate change also. Then renewable energy. So court supported the government efforts towards renewable energy and sustainable development. And finally the significance of the judgment is scope of fundamental rights increased a lot. Scope of fundamental rights, okay, fundamental rights increased a lot. So this is about significance of this particular judgment, and this is the essence of this topic. Now let's dive into the notes. Regarding the background of the case, Supreme Court dealing with the petitions by wildlife activists regarding the protection of the great Indian bustard. It is a critically endangered bird generally found in Rajasthan as well as the Gujarat. So the earlier verdict, it was given in 2021, and that verdict was directed towards three ministries: Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ministry of Power, and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And in this order, Supreme Court given a judgment that these power lines, they have to go underground. But these ministries are requesting that this is not technically possible. Some technical challenges are there. That is the reason they again filed a petition, review petition in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court modified the earlier orders. Okay, and while modifying the earlier orders, Supreme Court also announced that it is appointing one 9-member committee of experts, and this committee of experts, they will assess the feasibility of any undergrounding power lines in specific areas, in the not entire area, and it also asked the committee to submit a report by July 31st, 2024. Next, so in this case, Government of India, they pointed out India's commitment towards renewable energy, okay, while supporting their view regarding this on the ground, over the ground, this power lines. And Supreme Court pointed out that Indian government is aiming to install renewable energy excluding the hydropower by 175 gigawatts by 2022 and 450 gigawatts installed capacity by 2030. So Supreme Court also even complimented the government efforts. That is the reason this committee was appointed. Okay. So here you all know that India trying to achieve the net carbon zero by 2070. Next, the court also further said that India's commitment to non-fossil fuel is not just a energy goal, it also related to rights matter also. Because when you are able to reduce the reduce the fossil fuels, that means the carbon emissions can be reduced. That means clean energy can be increased. When you are increasing the clean energy means people life will be improved. Obviously, the right to life is getting protected. Due to this electric vehicles and due to the, in case if the green hydrogen will come into effect, even because of the green hydrogen also we can see a lot of positive results. So investing in renewable energy not only addresses these urgent environmental concerns, but they also give the lot of socio-economic benefits also. Already we are seeing regarding the PM Ujjwal Yojana. Tell me guys, under PM Ujjwal Yojana, which product will be given to the poor people? So what is the main area of targeting regarding the PM Ujjwal Yojana? So when you are promoting the renewable energy, obviously due to this clean and affordable energy, poverty can be reduced because people life can be enhanced in the way like their work will be done in a less time and they will be less vulnerable to the diseases. So the right to life is also getting protected. And why we have to encourage the renewable energy? On the energy side, you have to understand that in the next 2 decades, across the global energy demand, India energy demand is going to be 25%. And we have to get that kind of energy demand mainly from the solar or other renewable energy. Otherwise, we will end up depending on non-renewable energy like coal. That is going to cost a lot, not only in terms of the foreign exchange and in terms of the climate change also. Okay. And the climate change through lens of rights. Okay. While we are protecting the climate change, we are promoting the rights also. And Constitution clearly mentioning Article 48A, it is a DPSP principle, and this principle is advising the government to protect the wildlife, forest and climate and environment also. Actually, this Article 48A was not there in the original Constitution. It was added through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. And even we have one fundamental duty also, Article 51AG. That fundamental duty is also like encouraging us to protect the environment. Apart from this, now it is also became the part of the fundamental right, that is under Article 14 and Article 21. So this is how the scope of this fundamental right increased. Already we covered how this protection of climate change, prevention of climate change can enhance the right to health also. We discovered already. So the conclusion is Supreme Court from time and again they are expanding the scope of the fundamental rights by including the various horizons, various facets of the like dignified existence. However, this is the first time that Supreme Court included a right against the adverse effect of climate change as a part of the fundamental rights. Now let's see yesterday's video question. In yesterday's video we discussed that who was chosen against Subhash Chandra Bose during the re-election as president of INC at Tripuri session in 1939, Pattabi Sitaramaiah. And today's MCQ question, is which of the following Supreme Court verdict is either directly or indirectly related to right to life and liberty under Article 21? Okay, read the 4 statement and pick the correct answer using the codes given below. Mains question. Our constitution scope is increasing, and constitution scope is increasing as the society becoming more progressive. So illustrate with special reference to the expanding horizons of the right to life and personal liberty. That means how the right to life and personal liberty and how their scope is expanding in these days, in the recent days. This is the main question. As we reach to the end of this video, let us revise. In this video, we mainly discussed about Supreme Court recent judgment regarding the right to life, scope, expanding the scope of the right to life. That is right to protection from the adverse impact of the climate change. Regarding that we discussed. And in this Supreme Court judgment, the focus, the key area is about the Indian Bustard, and commenting on that Supreme Court given the judgment. Here which article scope is increased? Article 14 and Article 21. And indirectly Supreme Court also mentioned the existing provisions of Article 48A and Article 51AG also. And Supreme Court complemented the government efforts toward renewable energy, and to balance this development point of view as well as the ecology and climate change, Supreme Court appointed one expert committee also. So this is the detailed analysis regarding the recent Supreme Court judgment. I hope this video is useful to you. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day. Jai Hind.